Howdy, with this video I want to go over the final exam real quickly, make sure you understand what I'm looking for there. Just go over the guidelines for the final exam real quickly, make sure you turn it in on time, which is midnight Friday, November 20th. Got to get those graded and get your grades back to you pretty quickly after that, so I need those on time. Don't use research in this one. You will use 2 works we've read this semester, and you're going to quote from those works, but that should be it. Don't go to sparknotes.com or something silly like that and cut and paste stuff into your essay. It's an automatic 0. Also, make sure you don't self-plagiarize. Don't go back to like essay number 1 and just cut and paste that and call that your final exam. That's another way to get a 0. Self-plagiarizing is another form of plagiarism, right? If you have questions about that, be sure and let me know. Number 3, don't fall into plot summary. I've read all these works, some of these quite a few times. If you just follow the plot summary, I'm just going to be like, I've already read this. Why are they telling me the whole story again? So be careful there. Make sure you follow the format precisely. And make sure you quote from the works, the 2 works that we've read this semester for support. But again, no outside research other than that. For the final exam question, again, I'll show you the format here in a second. But basically, you're going to pick one of those 2 philosophical questions we talked about at the beginning of class, and you're going to show how 2 works we've read this semester deal with that role of the element of determinism. And again, that's the idea that our free will is kind of thwarted or constrained by culture and race and sex and aging and all these other biology, in other words, all these forces that kind of start to limit how much free will and how much choice we have in our lives. It's kind of a very interesting question. And then the other one you can choose, don't try and do both of these. You're either going to do determinism or the nature of truth in the 2 works you're going to choose to talk about. And just kind of show how that works through 2 works we've read this semester. And hopefully also developing a sense of comparison between those 2 works. And truth might be this way to, say, a romantic, and this way to a modernist or something like that. However you want to handle that. I give a sample thesis. That might be kind of a hard one to work with, but you can kind of see how that's going to work. And then the last paragraph, the 3rd body paragraph, you're going to relate whichever theme you decide to talk with in those 2 works from we've read this semester into your own life. You can talk about pretty much anything you want. I'm kind of letting you decide what you feel like talking about. But the presidential elections still a very interesting case study on the nature of truth and how we gain information and how do we know what's true and what's not. Fascinating, like I said, case study to see how people declare what truth is without really having the information needed to declare such truth sometimes. Very interesting. But you can talk about dealing with COVID. Nobody's chosen to get COVID. That wasn't an element of our free will or our need to deal with the problem. So you might talk about how COVID's kind of shown you maybe a little element of determinism working through your life. If you don't want to talk about those, if you're sick of those, you can kind of go in your own direction. You can talk about religion or your educational experiences, your family, things like that, or other things that have happened in your life. It kind of depends how personal you want to get and that kind of stuff. But that'll be your 3rd paragraph. Just make sure you don't fall into some political rant or some religious testimony. All religions have to deal with these questions, right? So it's in a very theological manner. So it's really kind of interesting. And to show you what this should look like, well, where'd it go? There it is. Don't try and read this this final exam here because it's not based on the same question you're being asked. But the format's the same. You're going to have the first paragraph of your essays is going to be the thesis statement. So tell me which theme you're going to talk about and which 2 works we read this semester that you're going to trace that theme through, and maybe what you're going to say in terms of the third body paragraph, the 4th paragraph overall, about your own life. But the first paragraph is just that 1-sentence thesis statement. Then you're going to spend the 2 body paragraphs talking about those 2 works. That should be focused on the literature. And again, trying to develop a sense of comparison and contrast between how those 2 works handle either the role of determinism or the role of or nature of truth, and however you're going to kind of lead into that last body paragraph. Then that last body paragraph will be you talking about yourself. No research. You don't have to talk about any more literature. Kind of ending the semester was kind of discussing one of these ideas and how it relates to you. But make sure you have that basic format. That's exactly what your essay should look like. First paragraph, just one sentence. That's just your thesis statement. Two body paragraphs dealing with two works we've read this semester and how it relates to that theme. And then the last paragraph, how that theme relates to your life. There's no introductory paragraph. There's no concluding paragraph. I don't want you to pad the essay with those kinds of things. Just give me your thesis and then get to it, right? So that's what the final exam should look like. If you want to send me the thesis statement, please do so in the body of an email so I can just look at it and respond real quickly. I just want to make sure, hey, I'm on the right track here. Feel free to do that. But other than that, be sure to let me know if you have any questions. And, well, we won't talk to you later. This may be the last video we do. So, but again, if you have any questions, let me know. And we'll see you, talk to you, email you later. Bye-bye.